With the recent changes to Blitz from Marvel Strike Force, I actually done a video a few days ago, the Have FoxNext Broken Blitz, and I was very proud of the Breaking Bad thumbnail that I was able to come up with. Now, in that particular video I ran through 8.3 in Blitz, which seems to be the problem for a lot of people with my high-end teams. Very recently I broke 4 million TCP in the game, so I am at the higher end without a doubt. Now, I've done 7 matches and I was actually able to win 6 out of the 7 matches. The one that I lost was the Sinister 6 going up against Defenders when they should have been able to beat them, but my Sinister 6 team are lower powered. Now, in the comments of that video, I've seen a lot of newer players that are having a much worse experience, and that seems to be tied in with the power levels of their teams, and that the scaling in 8.3 is far greater if you go in with a lower team. So what I'm actually going to do in this video is run over 7 of my lower teams. I've not got gameplay or anything, I've just went into the actual match selection screen, and then I've worked out the numbers to see how much of a punch up it actually requires in order to beat the team. Now, before we do bring that up, I'm just going to bring up some information here that was published way back when we had a blog post to do with red stars. So this post was put up to quell any fears that players had about red stars and how they may unbalance the game, so I'm glad to see that didn't actually turn out to be the case. Now, within this blog post, so this is FoxNext's own words, they mention the fact that player skill generally equates to about 20% more power when you're battling an opponent controlled by AI, so that means we can punch up generally by about 20%. It then mentions that with the right compositions and tactics, it's not uncommon for teams to punch up more than 50% power. So according to their own words, you're looking at the fact that you can punch up round about 50%, and that's going to be around about the maximum you're able to do if you've got the right team and also you use the right tactics. So with that in mind, let's actually bring up the 7 different matchups that I was offered in 8.3 using my lower teams. So this is definitely one of my lower level teams. It's the hand setup. You can see they're just shy of 90,000. The team in question they're going up against is close enough to 175,000. This next one is an odd mixture of characters. They come in at 194,000. The opponent would be 325. The next team we have is our Sinister 6, so it's 158,000 against 266. That's a big jump there. We then have the pretty awesome Power Armor team, 183,000 against 322. Next up is the Creed, they're looking at 194,000 against close to 330. My Fantastic Four team minus Sue is up next, so this one they're close to 140,000, and that would be going up against 235. The final team we have is a really pretty low one here. I do have Graviton and then it's your aim characters, so it's 72,000 against 139, that's close to. So now that we've covered all the teams, let me actually break down what the percent difference is in them and what punch up you're looking to have to actually do in order to beat them. So I've actually ordered these by the percent of the punch up. So we start down at 67%, that's the lowest punch up that actually is available, that's our 140,000 team. We then move up to 69% for 158k team, 194k team was 68% again, and then from here it seems to be the case that as the power levels go down, the percentage goes up. So you've got 193k team produced a 70% punch up, 183 produced a 75. The lowly 72k team, I believe that was my aim one, that was a 92% punch up you're required to do, so 42% more than FoxNext themselves say players can expect to reasonably do. And then finally we've got our 90k team with a whopping 94% punch up there. I wonder if I tried enough team combinations if I would actually be able to break 100%. Now, as you can see, the amounts that are required in 8.3 for players that don't have as high TCP as the likes of myself, where I was able to go in and get matchups I was able to win, there's no way players can overcome these actual punch ups. So it's the case that Blitz is now either not working as intended, or it's now been changed in a way that lower level players are not expected to get up to tier number 8. They're maybe expected to stop in tier number 5 or 6 and stay there and get to the end of that tier and then lose a match to drop back down, which takes so much longer now, because when you quit out a match it doesn't actually count as a loss, so you'd have to actively go in and lose the match in order to drop down. So definitely overall, the conclusion I had in the first video with my own personal experience, and I'll stress that was my own personal experience, that's all I can comment on when I'm actually running matches myself. But my own experience there at my level, 4 million TCP, was that it wasn't necessarily broken, but it took longer, and that was definitely a downgrade, because if anything we need to have Blitz taking up less time in our life rather than actually more. But looking at the numbers here for lower level players, then without a doubt I would say that Blitz in its current format is broken for them. Punch ups are between 67 to 94% aren't reasonable at all. There's no amount of tactics that are going to allow you to overcome that difference in stats. When you look at the likes of focus and resistance, you'll never be able to apply your debuffs, and you'll never be able to strip enemies, things like that. Now, I have already forwarded my concerns onto Cerebro regarding this. How much weight that holds these days, I'm not actually sure. So what I would say as well, because I've not seen a lot of creators actually talk about this particular issue, is if you feel this is important and if you're affected by it yourself, then make sure to share this particular video so we can get more people watching it, and we can hopefully get more eyes on this particular issue, and then fingers crossed get a response to it as well. But as always, thanks for tuning in for this video, and leave any comments below in regards to your own experience, and I'll see you all again soon.